Thank you, Deputy Speaker. We're talking about weaknesses in the government. That's what we're talking about today in this matter of public importance. And the weakness seems to me to be management, and management comes from the top, from the boss. And I think when we're talking about weaknesses in this Prime Minister, it starts with letting down the Australian people with the economy. That's the first weakness that we've seen on display. And there are many other weaknesses, and I will get to the border security weaknesses and the community's failure to keep our community safe weaknesses, but it is about weaknesses and management. Because after 2 years of hard labour, every single Australian is impacted directly by their failure and the weakness to manage our economy. We've had 12 interest rate increases, and Australians are now staring down the barrel of a 13th. Small and family businesses are shaking in their boots because groceries are up by 11%, housing 14%, rents 13%, electricity 20%. All of these are weaknesses in the Prime Minister and the Treasurer's ability to manage our economy and to help Australians. There's a very long shopping list of weaknesses for this government, and when it gets to what the biggest and the most expensive failure of this government and weakness of this Prime Minister is the abject failure of this government to do everything it can do to keep Australians safe. Criminals have been let out of detention because of the blunder after blunder of the Minister for Immigration and the Home Affairs Minister and the Prime Minister. The buck stops with them. And this Immigration Minister and his boss should be let go. They shouldn't be able to keep their job after letting hundreds of criminals out. And they don't actually know where they are. And only half of them are wearing ankle bracelets. And they are putting Australians' lives at risk. And they have taken Australians' lives. A serial rapist who attacked 25 women and a child. A non-citizen police said that some of the worst child abuse material in the world. A convicted rapist whose drug-fuelled attack drove his victim into a spiral of self-harm and homelessness. And now, just this afternoon, there are more. 3 more out there in our community, criminals spared by the Direction 99 from this minister and this weak Prime Minister. 2 of them are child sex offenders, out in our community, running around, committing heinous crimes against Australians. This is life and death. These situations that the Prime Minister and his hapless Minister for Immigration have delivered to the Australian people have caused harm to Australians due to their incompetence and the chaos of this government, and Australians can see through that. No one is responsible for these statistics, these lives, these crimes. No one that is responsible should keep their jobs. Enough is enough, and this weak Prime Minister has to grow a spine and sack these ministers. This is the first primary responsibility of government, is to keep our community safe. Australians know we have a weak Prime Minister at the helm who will not stand up for the Australian community. We have a hapless Immigration Minister, a failing Home Affairs Minister who have failed and rained down terror upon the Australian community with heinous criminals, hundreds of them, running around the streets, and they have no idea where at least half of them are. Australians are sick and tired of this government. It's time that the Prime Minister stood up and made a stand with his ministers and sacked both of them. It's a disgrace, and Australians across our community are worried about their personal safety as they go about their daily business, as they go about dealing with their bills and all the rest of it that they have to deal with. In the back of their minds, what are they thinking about? They are thinking about their personal safety, and they are thinking about those that we are thinking about in the coalition who have lost their lives due to this failing Immigration Minister and weak Prime Minister.